One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. Then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads, feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take some chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
Is flexing its military muscles in Cuba, just 90 miles from Florida. A Russian nuclear submarine and 3 other ships entered Havana harbor yesterday to conduct what they say are military exercises.
A surface warship and a nuclear-powered submarine arrived in Havana to a 21-gun salute, beginning what the U.S. expects to be the largest Russian military exercises in the Caribbean in 5 years. U.S. officials say the exercises will also include flights by Russian long-range bombers along the East Coast. The 4-ship Russian flotilla has already passed just 30 miles off the coast of Florida as it made its way down from the North Atlantic to the Caribbean. The warship has been used in the past to test fire one of Russia's newest hypersonic missiles. The submarine is also designed to carry guided missiles, but U.S. officials say there is no indication it is carrying nuclear weapons.
We, of course, take it seriously, but these exercises don't pose a threat to the United States.
The Russian ships have been shadowed by a small U.S. Navy task force consisting of 2 destroyers along with 2 vessels specifically fitted with sonar for tracking submarines, patrol planes, even sail drones. The Russians are expected to remain in Havana until next week before they get underway again, perhaps for Venezuela. When they do, officials say the Navy will start shadowing them again.
Wow. What's up with everybody, man?
What up, though? What up, though?
How's it going there?
We're enjoying ourselves this evening.
7 days later, and here we are once again.
In 14 for me, probably, if not more.
Right. You had a you had a little hiatus there. You was
Yep, big move.
right, moving around, moving and shaking, and okay. So how'd that go? You all moved in now? You good?
Yep. Now we're just putting up like the small stuff now. You know, we had to do the big maintenance flip over, and you know, when you buy a big property like this, there's a lot to do. And but yeah, now we're basically getting to the point where it's just maintaining.
That's what's up. That's what's up. What about you, Aaron? How you doing, brother?
Oh, doing well. Just had a gun show in Butler County. This coming weekend, we're going to be in Dayton, Ohio. So I'm looking forward to this weekend.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Well, everybody, once again, we're back another week later to discuss some of these topics that's going on around this world. I'm Archbishop Mike Ball. We got our man Aaron, and well, we got quite a bit to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big title that we got here. You know, global chess game. I mean, shoot, that's already gonna raise, you know, like what's going on here? Russia versus the United States, man. This is a big one.
Right. You know, so just to kind of give everybody an idea as to what's going on. You know, of course, everybody knows about the ongoing tensions between Russia and the United States, and we kind of see it as like a global chess game. So think about it like this: each move, each strategic decision is a calculated attempt to kind of outmaneuver each other. So you're going from energy to politics, cybersecurity, proxy wars, economic sanctions,
Right.
and all of it has a ripple effect when it comes to the global stage. So as the world of these two superpowers continue to engage in this hostage you want to see, it has a lot of far-reaching, unpredictable things that could happen.
Sure.
So we're just trying to stay ahead of the curve on this, and basically just to kind of talk about it and let everybody know kind of, you know, the different stuff that's going on, what's taking place, what could take place, and go with it from there. So that's what we're gonna hit. Now, of course, everybody knows here the past week, you know, it was all over TV about these Russian ships that was like, was it less than 30 miles from the coast of Florida? They were kind of traveling the international line there, to where they really wasn't in American waters. They just kind of hovered
right on the border of that line.
Right. So they had let's see, they had a frigate, a nuclear power sub, a tanker, and a tug. So your frigate was the what was it, the Admiral Gorshkov, and that particular ship, even though the news said, well, they didn't have nuclear weapons on board, but the Gorshkov actually contained hypersonic missiles. And then you had the Kazan, and the Kazan is a nuclear power sub. You know, now being the fact that they said, well, they didn't have any nuclear weapons with them. Okay, well, you had a nuclear power, so you had a nuclear power sub there. Would he not have nuclear weapons? Some sort. I mean, like, they didn't like offload them and then say, okay, we're gonna go over here and play around a little bit, but we ain't gonna bring no weapons. Now, it didn't. They said that they didn't see them actually offloading anything, which is a good thing. But and it was supposed to be some what they're supposed to like stop in Cuba for a little bit and then make their way down to Venezuela because they was doing some type of war games or whatever. But the fact that you came as close as you came struck an alarm for everybody, you know. But here's a question for both of you. Now, me and Aaron, we was talking about this earlier. So if their ship, I'm talking about the Gorskov here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we already knew that that particular ship contained hypersonic missiles. Now, we also know that since they started making hypersonic missiles, I mean, the U.S. possesses them as well. Those are the kind of missiles that they're super hard to shoot down because of the actual speed of the missile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you think about it, let's just say, for instance, that you know you was actually trying to be slick and you let one of them loose while you were there. Okay, so from Cuba to the U.S. is what, 90 miles?
About that, yeah.
So by the time that you realized it was done, it was already, I mean, it was already in the head.
Mm-hmm.
If that was the case, you know what I mean? Now, I think the funny part of that was like, okay, they come through, everybody see them come through, you know, and of course the Navy was on to them. They were following them all the way through. They had a couple of destroyers along with some drones, and quite a few aircraft that was doing surveillance the whole time that they were coming across. So they wasn't just sneakingly coming by and like when nobody doing nothing. I mean, they was watching them, you know, to make sure that they didn't pull no underhanded. But you have this thing going on now where throughout history, there's never been
Oh shit.
put boots on the ground in our country. Never.
Mm.
So, but you see them sitting here playing. It seems like here within the past couple weeks to months, they're playing this little cat and mouse game. You know, so one country would do something, like China would do something, U.S. would do something, Russia would do something, U.S. would do something. Like they going back and forth just to see, you know, what you can get away with, how close can you get, you know, because you thinking all this stuff has a meaning to it. Okay, my thinking strategically, there's a meaning to that. So you're gonna see how close you can come before somebody says something to you, or you know how much you can do on this end without somebody saying something to you. You know what I mean? And it's going back and forth. But with this back and forth situation, it can lead to something that's catastrophic. So this is some of the stuff that we're gonna get into. So Aaron, I'm gonna let you go first. And I'm gonna let you basically start wherever you want to, and then I'm gonna pick up from where you at, because I got quite a few videos on dealing with this particular stuff here, but we're gonna bounce around.
I'm excited.
And try to cover everything as a whole. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we're not gonna be just focused on boom, 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 because I also have a video here where Putin actually explaining the reason why he's doing what he's doing. So it's a lot that's going on here. So Aaron, I'm gonna let you hit it first, and you can start wherever you want, and then we're going.
Okay. I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but about a couple of weeks ago, there was a Russian fleet off the coast of California that was practicing military games, aiming missiles toward the United States and practicing launching missiles on the United States. That was a clear flex of muscle right there. Then you go to Cuba. They've got a nuclear submarine there that can fire right there in the Cuban Bay. You don't even have to be on the move. With the missiles it has and the cruise missiles, it can hit anything from the tip of Florida up to the Carolinas. I mean, it could take out the majority of our East Coast, just that sub by itself. So for the United States to downplay the whole situation and say they pose no threat, if they were no threat, why'd you have the combat air patrols? Why'd you bring 2 Arleigh Burke destroyers down there? Arleigh Burke destroyers have anti-missile missiles on them to try to shoot down missiles. Our anti-missile batteries are on the East Coast and West Coast. We got nothing protecting us from anything coming down through Canada. We have nothing protecting us from anything coming up through the Gulf. So you put those 2 destroyers down there, and that's the only protection that we've got in place to stop anything that's coming. Russia is clearly flexing right now and showing us that they have the clear capacity to come and strike U.S. soil. And for our government to say it means it's no threat, you must be smoking crack to say something like that. But I'm gonna stop right there.
So, Aaron, what's the benefit of the media or the government to downplay this?
Well, right now, as I told Bishop earlier, I saw where the United States military officials and the U.S. government is secretly stockpiling stuff right now for what could be a possible imminent threat, imminent crisis, whether it's economic, whether it's military. They're stockpiling. Now, if they start to announce that too soon, then everybody's going to be rushing the stores, and the military and them, they get first pick anyway. So we'll be last to know if they let us know. And then there'll be a massive rush on the stores, and the stores will be empty probably 3-4 hours. There won't be much left for those that are slow to get to the stores and get what they need.
Damn, that's quick.
To be prepping now. The average truck comes into, say, a Walmart or a warehouse club once every 2 to 3 days. So once the stores empty out, it's going to be a day or two before the next truck is going to arrive. So you being able to get resources is going to be next to none if you don't take the steps now to get what you need while the getting's good, because everything from toilet paper down to toothpaste is made overseas now. We're not hardly manufacturing nothing in this country. So if you want to have certain things on a day-to-day basis, you better be stockpiling it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but Putin just went to North Korea recently.
I did see that. I read that.
And he signed a protection act with the Koreans.
Oh?
Yeah, mutual defense that they signed. So
okay, I didn't know about that.
If anyone attacks Russia, North Korea has to come to its aid. If anyone attacks North Korea, Russia has to come to its aid. Now,
wow.
North Korea already has a protection act similar signed with China. So what does that give the Russians by signing that with them? If you believe the media and you believe that the Soviet Union is running out of munitions to use in Ukraine, they're getting low on ammo. North Korea manufactures a lot of munitions. That's one of their principal things that they manufacture. So that opens up Russia to their resources of being able to get access to that. What does the Koreans get in return? They get the benefit of getting nuclear satellite missile aiming technology from the Russians. Whether you know it or not, North Korea now has 90 nukes. Where'd they get the nukes from? I don't believe they know them, but they don't have the means to accurately aim them. Now, they did put 2 satellites up in the sky, and if Russia or China shares that satellite aiming technology with them, they'll be able to precisely hit targets inside the United States now.
I didn't know they struggled in that aspect. Interesting.
Oh, they did, and they was having a hard time getting the stuff off the ground. But they made so much advancement at such a quick rate that I was suspicious that they had either Russian or Chinese scientists sitting there advising them on what to do and how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
interesting.
But I'll stop right there for right now.
Yeah, when I was reading on that about the agreement that they had made. Now, mind you, Putin hadn't been to North Korea in well over, was it 24 years?
Right.
Since he had last stepped foot in North Korea, and then they ended up making this this agreement. Now, you kind of knew that that particular thing could happen, because you know that they were been saying for a while that a lot of the weapons that Russia was using was coming from North Korea. And they saying that China was also spearheading some of these weapons as well, which really isn't much different than the UK, Britain, and France, and everyone else supporting Ukraine and giving them weapons as well. So that's where the whole proxy war comes about. So you have all these superpowers here, you know, like I'm gonna give you these missiles. I'm gonna give you these guidance systems. I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you this, and y'all gonna fight it out, and we're gonna sit back and watch and see who comes out on top. You know, now you think about it though, even with like a lot of people was on there talking about, well, you know, Ukraine is losing this war. It was never put out that they was to win.
Right.
The game wasn't to win. The game was to be able to knock their numbers down to the point that if you decided you could do something after that, you had more of a fighting advantage over top of it. So it was never set up for them to win. It was just to knock them down. You know, now, one thing for sure and two things for certain, as long as Putin been in office, he's not a dumb man. By no means.
Hell no. You can't be with
Not
that
a
many
dumb man
years.
by no means. So this is why I come up with the whole chess playing scenario, because you notice he's been around longer than, let's see, who we have. How many presidents has he actually been in power that he's actually met? So you had Trump, you got Biden, you got Obama.
Hasn't he been in office like 20
Light.
years or something like ridiculous? 24 years or something crazy?
What's that again? Say that again.
Hasn't he been in office for like 24 years or something
He's
ridiculous?
been around for a long time. That's what
Right.
I'm saying. So everybody, you know, like over here, you know, I mean, you have 4-year terms, you reelect, get another 4, but you only
Right.
do. I mean, you
He's
only got
met
twice.
like all these presidents.
And yeah, he's been there for the duration.
Yeah. Been around for a minute.
Right. And he's not a stupid man.
Mhm.
And you notice, like, even in his own country, the ones that actually tried to go against him and try to run against him for president and stuff like that, you see what happened to him. You know, they end up poisoned or
some
run over
bullshit.
by cars, and you know what I mean, like all different kind of stuff. So it's a lot. It's a lot going on there. You know, that's one of the ones you think like, you know, like one of them people that just has to be in power. You know, and that's basically what this is. You know, I mean, it's a dictatorship. It's been a dictatorship.
So since 1999.
Yeah,
Wow.
So, okay, so think about how many presidents that he didn't actually sit down and talk to.
That's like 25, 24 years. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it's been a lot. Go ahead, Aaron. What you got, brother?
And I forgot to mention, for those who don't know, Russia is Cuba's number one creditor. They're their leading creditor. And in the area, Russia and Venezuela is Cuba's two best friends that they do a lot of business and associate with. But credit-wise, Russia literally finances Cuba.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, you see, that's why they wasn't thinking about this as being such a big deal, because they was like, yeah, you know, Russia has really they've given Cuba a lot of money throughout the years. I mean, I think that's how the whole Cuban Missile Crisis even took place.
Right.
And then but then you have the US, like they have bases there now over in Guantanamo. You know, I think the funny thing about all this was, it's like, okay, they had the Kazan, the nuclear power sub that showed up. You know what I mean? It's sitting there. And then all of a sudden out pops up USS Helena, which is actually considered like a fast attack nuclear sub. Now, those particular subs they're built for, they got plenty of firepower, but they're built for speed. So they can go well over 30 knots.
Wow, that's very fast.
and they're very agile. And those particular type of subs, what they found that was kind of amazing as to what was going on here is that those particular subs there you never see. They're in an actual secret class.
So they're like that secret next level above all.
Right.
Right.
Right. So you don't see them show their face. So when you do, you like, oh wow, they're not supposed to be out. But it kind of puts that message out too, like, okay, well, you can ride through here all you want, but that don't mean we ain't watching you. Just like I said, just like the chess game, you waiting, you anticipating somebody's move.
I need to hear your analogy with, you were saying in the green room earlier about like the actual different chess pieces. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed that, like the different knights and different kind of like what it relates to.
Okay. So think about this. Imagine the world being like a giant chessboard, okay, where you had two superpowers playing against each other, Russia against the United States.
Sure.
And you playing this high stake game of strategy and maneuvering. Okay. So each move that you make is a critical move. Okay. Each piece is either a proxy for influence or control, one of the two.
Sure.
Okay. So how I broke it down was this. Okay. So you had the pawns. Okay. And the pawns is basically economic interests, diplomatic alliances, and of course proxy wars. Those are your pawns. Then you have the knights. Okay, so if the ones who play chess that's watching this, you know how these pieces move. So
I'm a big chess player myself, so
I'm reading it. Okay, so the knights, you have cyber warfare, disinformation, and covert operations. Then you have the bishops, and that's more of the international organizations, the treaties, and government as a whole. Then
what was that last part, by the way, Arch? You cut out for a sec. What about government?
What about Oh, you talking about the global governance?
Oh, governance. Okay. No, you cut out for a second, so that's why. Okay.
Oh, okay. Then you have the rooks. Okay, so the rooks is the military might, the military forces, the strategic bases that's planted throughout the world, and you also have your territorial control. Okay, those are all under the rook. Then you have the queen. So your queen is your natural resources, your energy resources, your trade agreements, your technological supremacy. Those are your queens. Now, that's the one that you're trying to protect the whole time. You're trying to protect the queen. Okay. And then, of course, you have the king, which is your national sovereignty, your ideological dominance, and then the hearts and minds of your country.
Interesting. Okay? You really broke this down.
Right. So, but if you think about it like that, every move has a consequence. Every piece has a role to play.
Damn right.
So you have to be strategic about how you're playing. Now, one thing about playing chess, when you sit down alongside the person that you're playing against, the first thing that you have to know when you're playing chess is who you playing against.
Absolutely.
So you have to know that person. You have to be able to calculate his moves, know which way he's gonna go.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like, okay, are you gonna put this out just to see if I jump in and just take that, or is there another reason for that?
Sure.
You know what I mean? Why would you expose your queen? Because you want me to jump over. If that way you can do this. You know what I mean? If you look at a lot of the stuff that's going on, dealing with Ukraine, dealing with BRICS, dealing with the the petrodollar going kaput.
Yep.
All of this stuff is playing a strategic role. All of it is a piece. So if you put all that together and look at it on a board and figure out, what move that you're going to make, it's kind of easy to figure out what they're going to do. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But like I said, the first thing you got to do is that you really have to know the person that you're playing against, who's alongside you, and how well do you know him, so you know what moves he's going to make.
Absolutely.
So
I love that you broke it down and actually thought this through legitimately. Like, you didn't just name something like this and, you actually knew and broke it down. I really enjoyed that. That was cool.
Yes, I figured if I broke it down that way, it made a lot more sense, where you can kind of put it all together and be like, okay, when I made this up, it's like, okay, this is a chess game, okay, but now you got to understand exactly what I mean by this chess game. And you put these pieces in order based on these particular factors. And if you know how to play chess and you know how each individual piece moves, then you understand exactly what they're doing.
Look at Steve in the chat. He says, question, do you guys think that in our lifetimes we will actually see another world war? I can guarantee you that we're going to see another world war, at least in my lifetime. You know what I mean? Guaranteed. There's no way that we're not going to go this long without conflict like that, for sure. What do you guys think?
Another thing, Cuba then showed his face. I mean, not Cuba, but Canada. Canada showed up too, and was like, okay, you ain't gonna just ride by here. We're gonna ride out here too. So it wasn't just the U.S. that was following them. Canada came out too. Matter of fact, I got a little small video on my hip, so that way you can
let's do it.
Kind of see Canada, see what they doing up there.
Cuba is not happy. So we know the Russian Navy showed up to Cuba to do some training. The U.S. responded with their own submarine. Now all of a sudden, Canada has showed up to the party and has docked alongside the U.S. military. The response from Canada was literally to show that we stand with the United States. The response from Russia, the United States, we've been trying to talk to you guys. We've been trying to send you messages, and you only seem to respond whenever warships or military actions take place. Now, Cuba has responded by saying, we don't want our territories to be used as war games between all these nations. Essentially, they even stated that typically when militaries come into our country, they need to be invited. But the United States does have the luxury of something known as Guantanamo Bay, where the U.S. has an open door policy and can show up whenever they want, and they can bring some friends, like Canada. Russia also really has an open door policy since they are close allies with Cuba. So again, this is quite the mess, quite a political disaster for Cuba. They're not happy, but at the end of the day, this is all just going to boil on over and we continue with life.
Wow.
But it's good to see that Canada did come through. So it's gonna be something, because it's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. That's a lot of stuff that went on like behind the scenes. Like, I'll give you an example. So we were, I think last show we was talking about the petrodollar, right? And
yes,
we was also talking about
Saudi Arabia, right?
What's that?
That's with Saudi Arabia, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we was talking about that, and then we was also talking about BRICS, because Saudi Arabia has agreed to go up under BRICS.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And at that point in time, when we was talking about it, there was 36 countries that had agreed to go up under BRICS whenever it started.
Wow.
Now, that was on June. Let me see. June 9th is when that treaty ended. June 12th is when they had a BRICS summit. So along with them 36 countries that had already agreed, they picked up another 56 on top of that.
Damn.
One of these countries happens to be Turkey, and Turkey is a part of NATO.
Right.
Now, So when I was reading that, I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, Turkey's a part of NATO. Now Turkey's talking about, well, if something do break out, we don't want no parts of it. But Turkey the US has a number 1 ranked military. In NATO, Turkey falls number 2.
No shit. Did not know that.
So if Turkey says, okay, I don't want to be involved in this, I'm out of this. So you wanted a gun. Now you wanted a gun. So it's like the US will have to do more to make up for the one that they lose on the back end.
Right, because you are losing that force.
Right. But Turkey wouldn't even have nuclear weapons right now if it wasn't for the US, because the US is the one that gave it to them.
No
you know
shit.
what I mean? So it's like now.
I didn't know we had that connection with them.
Yeah. So like now you got people here that's basically, how can you say, turning their back, so to speak. Like we done all this stuff for you throughout the years, and then now when we actually need you for something, now you stepping back, like you don't want to be involved.
Sure.
But you was involved as long as I was giving you. You know what I mean? As long as you was benefiting from what I was giving you, you was all for it. Now you don't want no problems. You know what I mean? Germany tried to do the same thing. You know what I mean? But these countries got to realize, though, is that once this starts, now you can not be involved if you don't want to be involved. I mean, think about it. The U.S. wasn't involved in the World War II until you came and bombed Pearl Harbor.
Correct. They were a little bit late to the party, a little bit.
Right. They stayed out of it. They sat back. They made weapons. They made tanks and everything, and they shipped it over there. Y'all bought them. We shipped them. We made our money off of it, and we ain't worried about none of that. It was only until you came and bombed Pearl Harbor was like, okay, you know what, man, I got you.
Now it's time.
Right. It's on now. These countries here just talking about if they don't want to be involved in this, the same thing is going to happen.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It ain't going to take much for one of them to come over and mess with something in your land, and then you're going to be ready to fight. That's exactly what happened.
Damn straight. And it's bound to almost happen. It seems like it's like everyone's right there to be able to do that, and it's almost it's unpredictable, obviously. And it kind of trips a lot of people out, including myself.
Now, I was looking at something earlier, where they was talking about the actual number of weapons that the U.S. citizens actually possess in the United States, especially in the South. In the South, most important, because it said for every 100 people in the South, there was 130 firearms. For every, so basically everybody got at least one. Everybody got at least one. Some may have two, some may have a damn arsenal, but everybody got something. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody running around naked. Everybody got something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it ain't like, even if you did have this inkling that you're gonna jump up here and try to do something, man, you gonna get blasted from everywhere. Right.
Don't even try. Come on, man.
From everywhere.
That'd be real dumb.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Someone make my day. Yeah.
Now you have over in Aaron, me and you was talking about this earlier. I'm gonna let you explain it. You was telling me about the different countries that they were that the governments were actually coming out and telling them to either stockpile on stuff. You had Poland that was building bomb shelters. Run through that list and kind of let everybody know exactly what's going on. The reason why I'm saying that is because all these other countries here are telling their people to stockpile on food, water, medical supplies.
No shit.
All this other stuff. You don't hear none of that shit over here. You don't hear none of it.
No, hell no.
But they broadcasting it everywhere else. So
really?
Yeah. So Aaron, I want you to knock that down, but then I want you to give me your reason really as to why they're not talking about it here. Why do you think they're not talking about it?
I got to hear this. Yeah.
Well, right now, Poland is preparing bomb shelters in Warsaw itself to hold over 3 million people. That is a massive
Whoa.
community project.
Yeah,
that's
that's a
gonna cost
mega.
billions of dollars. If something wasn't going to happen, why would they spend the money? You got Serbian president last week. He asked for his entire population to start stockpiling flour, sugar, oil in the example of fuel for heating and fuel for cooking. Sugar and flour basically is baking and food products to be able to cook food. But he's telling them to stockpile that now. If he didn't get word that something was about to go down, why would he say such a statement on the world news? And I think he presented that to the UN at a meeting that he was at. The Brits right now are telling their people to stockpile tinned food, which is what we call canned food.
Okay.
And they asked them to do that for an imminent crisis. Now, I would consider if it's imminent, I would say that'd be anywhere from 1 day to 90 days. That's imminent. It's right there in our face. Anything beyond that would not be imminent. So they're telling them for an imminent crisis. That's something that's going to happen very shortly in their eyesight. Germany's warning its citizens to stockpile food. Sweden, Norway, Finland, everybody is telling them that. I mean, we moved, 300,000 soldiers to Europe recently because Germany and France thought that we were going to sit this war out and come in and back clean up after their countries are all war torn and destroyed.
Are they predicting a world war? Is that what they're predicting?
That's what the stage is being set for.
It seems like, right? Yeah. Wow.
So to keep to keep Germany and France from sitting this war out, we had to show that we were committed to their defense. So we sent 300,000 troops over to Europe to bolster the current NATO forces that are in place to show that we got some skin in the game here, So this is getting crazy. The stage is being set. I mean, we just moved stealth bombers to Guam. I mean, if you're going to put stealth bombers in Guam, you must be planning on bombing China. And I'm going to say this, get away from the ideal that our bombers are going to sail right into their country. That's not how modern day bombers operate. They get within, say, 500 miles of your coastline and they drop out cruise missiles that has 1,000, 2,000 mile range. And they let those things go in and do the damage. That way they can return safely to base with minimal exposure to counterfire. And then they can rearm and come up and do the same daggone thing again. So we sent 25 F-35 fighters. Those are Gen 5 fighters. They got the avionics where they can see over the horizon. They can engage you before you even see them. Now, why would you send that type of technology to Israel unless Israel's getting ready to go into Lebanon or getting ready to take on Iran? They wouldn't need that firepower because they got F-15s, and F-15s is an air support superiority fighter. So they already got those in place, but now you're about to bring in stealth fighters to assist the Israelis. There's so many pieces that are being moved into place right now. And then you have a push to kill the US dollar. I mean, China, different places, Saudi Arabia, they're dumping our debt, our treasuries. That's our debt. And our debt is massive. And then on top of that, they killed the petrodollar agreement. You got, like Bishop said,
50 years, right?
You got 56 nations getting ready to join the BRIC alliance because they asked themselves, moving from this point to the future, what is going to be best for our interests? What's our best interest here? Which do we stay with the dollar in the United States and go with their money being printed by the Federal Reserve, endlessly being printed, nothing but the full faith of the U.S. government supporting it? Or do we support the BRIC alliance, which is using gold, silver, and oil to give their money intrinsic value? So, we're in the early stages of World War III. People may not want to see that, but with the cyber attacks that are going on, you got these diseases coming out. Bishop, if you're going to show a film, I'm not going to speak on, but if you're not going to show a film, I'd like to mention the bird flu thing, if that's okay. It's up to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Uh,
Go ahead.
okay. Right now, you've got H5N1. That's a major killer. I mean, the original bird flu is H1N1. That
Right.
would, if it jumped to humans, that would be a massive killer. But now you got H5N1. That is a 30% killer.
No way.
Keep in mind that COVID was only 4%. Look at how many people died from that.
Wait, 4% compared to a 30% jump in
Heck yeah.
relative terms? That's crazy.
And then you got another one that's out there called H5N2. That's a 50% killer. Now, you got actual cases that's appeared in the United States. The only cases that are close to us is on chicken farms down in Mexico.
Mm.
So how did the disease get from Mexico over here into the United States? Is somebody tweaking it? Are they weaponizing it so it jumped from animals to humans?
Sure.
And if it's flu, that means it's airborne. You'll be hard pressed to defend against that. I mean, if we go into another economic lockdown, you're talking about crashing economies around the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
So are we being engineered to move into a war, into this, because our money
is it calculated?
Yeah, is our money losing so much, is about to lose so much value? Because right now the government's going to have to choose between backing the inflation or backing the banks. You got 65 banks in the United States in trouble right now, major trouble. And they don't have the reserves no more that they used to have. So if they back the banks, inflation is going to become hyper, and you're going to be watching your bank accounts get raped. You're going to lose all kinds of money if we get into hyperinflation prices. And if they go after the inflation to reduce the inflation, then the banks could go under. And if some of them go under, that's going to affect Wall Street. And you can be engineering another collapse. Even if the Federal Reserve raised rates right now, you're talking about a financial collapse of Wall Street. That's what happened. It started World War II when the Federal Reserve raised rates. Black Tuesday happened, Black Monday, whatever you want to call it. Great Depression happened. We were in it 12 to 15 years. It took World War II to bring us out of it. And we came out of it stronger than we went into it.
So the war actually brought us money.
Oh, yeah. Our money became the world currency after that.
Mm-hmm.
So we came out of it stronger. So do we need that now to be able to hold on to power? Do we need a collapse of the economy to bring forward the CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies, which Federal Reserve already has it ready to bring forward to replace the fiat currency, which is the paper money? Or do we get into a war and hope that we pull it off with our technology, so long as the EMPs don't shut our technology down and makes us susceptible to ground attack from the Chinese? I mean, the Chinese has the largest military in the world right now, and they have the largest Navy in the world right now. Whether people realize it or not, you can look it up.
What's got to stop these different governments to stop them from using something like an EMP on their citizens or other people? You know what I mean? Like, why haven't they? It seems like that technology is really insane, and why hasn't it been used upon nations?
Well, China has a super EMP weapon, and I don't know if it's a weaponized satellite that it come down out of the air into low Earth orbit and detonate and shut down entire areas, or if it's going to be fired from a missile. I mean, you got your ground attack missiles, and then you got your submarines. And to be a submarine captain, you got to be a sneaky son of a gun. Because once you give away your position, it's only because you started firing your missiles. And if you take out all their ground missiles, the subs are the next thing you got to worry about. Where the hell are them things at? And are they parked right off of our coast where we have no reaction time? You know, so it's going to get real interesting over these next so many months. Because as those countries that are jumping ship on us and they're joining the BRIC alliance, as they spend their dollars to acquire products, they're not going to buy no more US dollars. They're already talking about buying Chinese dollars to buy oil and stuff with. When those dollars get repatriated.
And it got accepted already that yen was going to be one of the currencies. Yeah.
And when those dollars come back over here and starts flooding our market with all them dollars, inflation is going to get out of control. And that's where the government's going to have to make a decision. And it's the difference between the devil you know and the devil you don't. There's no good point here. If you stop inflation, the banks are going to go under and Wall Street can be affected.
Right.
If you help Wall Street and the banks, inflation is going to get out of control. And the average citizen, which 60% are living hand to mouth right now. Hand to mouth means as fast as the money coming in, it's going back out the door.
Right. That's why I'm so
citizens
thankful that I
taking
moved
money.
here. I moved here, and thank God, like that's basically why I did exactly that, was because I was living that lifestyle essentially, and it's terrible.
I mean, there's no right thing that they can choose. You're going to deal with bad shit happening whichever way they go. So people need to wake up and realize we're getting ready to go between now and the year 2030. We're going to be going through some hard times, and we're going to have to tighten our belts a lot tighter than we've ever had.
Well, shit. This is the perfect time that I moved into a compound with my family. You know what I mean? Perfect timing. Yeah, this is radical. It's very scary that seeing what has been coming forth within the last, let's just look at it from the past year. It's dramatic. There's a lot of shit that's going on, and it's unfortunate for sure.
And push to kill the US dollar, that represents a clear and present danger to our nation. Will we fight to maintain that? That's the question to ask. What's in our best interest at this point?
Right. And that's exactly what's gonna lead you there. It's exactly what's gonna lead you there, because you think the US dollar has been the global currency for over 100 years, 103 years to be exact.
Prime.
There were most other countries that were in that as a global currency only lasted 100 years. So we're 3 years ahead of that. But looking at all this though, it kind of seems like, now I can understand some countries, like, okay, take like Russia, for instance. You know what I mean? You had a shitload of sanctions. At one point in time, Russia was using 70% of the American. Now it dropped down.
70% what? You cut out there.
For the US dollar that they were spending in Russia, it was 70%.
Wow.
That they were using. It went from 70% to 20%.
Whoa.
After the sanctions. So from what Putin's been on here talking about, it was like, well, if you never gave me those sanctions, we never would have done this. So basically what is like, okay, y'all did this, we're gonna do this. But you gotta think, out of all these countries though, it's like a smack in the face for real, where you done went for all these years and you basically been playing big brother to the whole world, just about. You run in and you try to solve everybody's problem, and you giving money, you giving aid, you giving weapons, you giving, just about anything you can think of that they're asking for, you was doing. Just like they just did this agreement where they're gonna agree to give Ukraine money for the next 10 years. Like, I don't agree with that shit.
No, hell no. I don't know many Americans that do agree with that.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Hell no.
Being the fact, I don't agree with that part, being the fact that you have people right now that's in the street and you ain't helping them, but you gonna turn around and give it to this dude here. You know what I mean? Just by watching a lot of the stuff that you hear Zelensky talk about, he sound like he could be like the greatest used car salesman there is. You know what I mean? Because it seems like everywhere he goes, he end up coming back with some money. Somehow, shape, form, and fashion, he come out with some money.
Yep.
Now,
good mouthpiece.
Right. Oh yeah. Mouthpiece strong as hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
gotta be.
So you done brokered a deal to where you going to be able to get money in Ukraine from the US for the next 10 years. Like, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Not helping you with what you're doing right now. Okay. But then when we say enough is enough, like, okay, y'all done played too long. You know what I mean? Y'all boring now. Let's go on in this. You didn't want to do it. You know what I mean? And then I also read one where they was talking about that Russia was actually coming out with a peace plan that they offered them here recently, here within the past week. And they was like, nah, we don't want that. You know, so it's they're like, okay, so you don't want that. Okay, so we just gonna keep hitting you. You know what I mean? And you keep going back and forth. Like I said, it wasn't meant for them to win in the first place. You know what I mean? But like I said, on the other end, Russia ain't stupid, just like they can't see the reason why France was trying to sit back and put their hand, sit on their hands right now is because Russia already contacted them a couple weeks ago. You remember this, Aaron, but it was like, okay, you got these people shooting these Storm Shadow missiles over here into Russia. We know damn well that you didn't teach them how to do that. Y'all the only ones that know how to shoot them. We know y'all doing it. After then is when, well, we really don't want to be involved in this because they done got called out. You know what I mean? You was being sneaky and you got called. You know damn well that you ain't teach them dudes how to do that. And they know you didn't.
So,
you know what I mean?
so
So
is there a video now, like leading into now Russia warning the United States? Like, what's going on with that? Like, I think there was something about that.
Well, actually, what it is for the first time since Putin been in office, that's since what 99. This is the first time that he ever considered the U.S. as an enemy. This is the first time that he actually publicly said,
"Oh wow,
that the U.S. is an enemy." Matter of fact, I got a video on it. Hold on a second. What do we got here? And not only, hold on, I'm gonna play two.
Sure.
I'm gonna play that one, and then I'm gonna play this other one to where Putin says that, okay, well, since you giving Ukraine weapons, how about I give these other countries who don't like you weapons to use against you? Since you giving them weapons, maybe I should give them weapons too. So I'm gonna play both.
Shit. Okay.
Putin threatened to use nuclear weapons if this were to happen to Russia, but he did have positive things to say about Trump. Putin labeled the United States as an enemy of the state during a speech in Russia, where he claimed that the United States initiated a coup in Ukraine, which started a domino effect that ultimately led to the Russian-Ukraine war. And as a direct result of that war, Putin says around 50,000 people are dying in Ukraine per month. Putin blames these deaths on the United States and issued this stark warning to the West, saying that if any foreign forces were to threaten the sovereignty or territorial integrity of Russia, then they would be in violation of Russia's nuclear doctrine, and Russia will be well within their rights to activate their nuclear weapons. However, Putin did emphasize that no matter who wins in 2024, he is willing to work with the resulting US president, before going on to say that Donald Trump has been unfairly persecuted by the United States justice system, and that the charges being brought against Trump are completely politically motivated.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has issued a new ominous warning to the United States and to NATO about nuclear weapons and World War III. I'm going to be sharing with you the video footage and the articles so you can see it for yourself, but take a look at this quote that came out just a little while ago today. Putin also suggested on Wednesday today that he may soon deploy conventional missiles to areas capable of striking the United States and its allies in retaliation for Western nations sending Ukraine weapons that can be used to strike targets in Russia. And this is all surrounding what has unfolded over the last 48 hours, as Russia is saying that the United States has made a fatal miscalculation in Ukraine. And this comes as Ukraine has struck Russia with U.S.-made missiles. Now, I reported it to you as soon as it came out that it was confirmed that it was a U.S. missile that has hit Russia, this coming from Ukraine, and we had heard Russia say that any nation that provides these long-range missiles to Ukraine, that they would be held accountable. And this is a major policy shift from President Joe Biden and from NATO, as since the war began over the last 2 years, there have been major warnings from the United States to Ukraine not to use U.S.-made missiles, as this could escalate the tensions between NATO and Russia and lead to World War III. And as I mentioned, that has all shifted. And take a look at how quickly things have changed. In the last 48 hours, now NATO is developing a plan to transfer troops in case war with Russia does take place. Russia saying if you defend Ukraine, do not be surprised if you are hit. Moscow says...
Wow. Wow, heavy.
Yeah, so it's been, like I said, this has been put out.
Mm-hmm.
It's been put out. And actually, what was I had it memorized, but I didn't write it down. Aaron, maybe you know the bill that they just passed on Capitol Hill about about the draft age, bringing it from was it from 18 to 26? Had to register for the selective service, and it counted for men and women.
And even Jamie poses this question, you know, kind of bringing it within the draft. I think the draft is coming very soon. I've seen a lot of other channels talking about it, unfortunately. And yeah, there we go.
Yeah. What was the actual, I forget off the top of my head what the actual bill number was, but me and you was talking about it earlier, Aaron's.
Now there's two things there. There's the main one, and then there's a subchapter one. The National Defense Authorization Act, those are the federal laws that specify the annual budget for the military per year. And then under that comes the United States military draft bill. And under it, the way they got it set up right now, females will go to war. And be honest with you, I know a lot of women feel
passed, by the way, the draft for women, has that passed?
It has passed the House. It hasn't got through Congress.
Not Congress, right.
But women going to war, I know a lot of people say that they're equal to men, but I'm going to tell you this, going to war, that's the worst thing that a man could ever see in his life, is people blown apart and their friends tore apart. That's the worst of what it is to be a man. And I don't know why anybody would want that. I don't want my daughter serving on no front line. I would
hell no, me neither. I've got a daughter myself, and hell no, I'm 100% against it.
But it does require women to register. Okay, anyone 18 to 26 will have to register. Now, the selective service keeps a written record on people. So if you don't sign up and they've got you on their records, you're going to be facing charges. It is a felony. It's punishable by $250,000 or 5 years imprisonment. Now, let's say
Isn't
that
it automatic now, though? Doesn't it automatically put you in, like registers you?
Yes, it does.
Right.
Well, I'm also going to say, if you're a person that, say you're talking to your child and you're counseling your child, you need to go to Canada or Mexico, I'll finance it. If you're aiding and abetting counseling, you're going to be charged with the same crime, and you'll be faced with 5 years in jail and probably $250,000, and it is a felony. So they're not playing around here.
Yeah, so they, like I said, the deck getting stacked slowly but surely.
For real.
You know, now, like I said, though, selective service has been around for a long time. A long time. You know, now back in my day, you know, I didn't have to register for selective service because I went straight into the military anyway. But it used to be something where you just went to the post office, got the little card, filled it out, dropped it in the mailbox.
That's essentially what I did. Yep.
Right. And then they registered you.
Yep. I remember when I did that.
You know, yeah. See, but now they do it, you know, everything's basically automatic. They know exactly when you turn 18.
Yep.
You get, I mean, you on there.
That's crazy.
You know, so yeah, so
yeah, because I had to actually get off my ass and do something about it in order to register, you know. So yeah, interesting.
You know, I seen a thing on TV. I know this is gonna sound absurd when I say it, but there was a family on there, and the lady was getting ready to have a baby, and she was going to put her son down as a female, so that way when he
to get out of
older, to get out of it.
No way.
Yeah. But you see, with this bill, that don't work either.
It won't matter anymore anyways. Yeah, exactly. Moded.
Right.
You know what I mean? Damn.
Yeah, ain't no way out of it. Matter of fact, I got a little, let me see. I got a little one about the draft that it's only about 15 seconds, but it shows the actual numbers countrywide as to the state, how many people between 18 and 26 that they had in that state.
Okay. Wow, I was kind of studying that map as fast as I could, and wow.
Yeah, 78.4 million between the ages of 18 and 26.
Mm-hmm.
78.4
a lot of
million.
people.
Right, exactly. That's a lot of people. I mean,
It's
Florida,
an
I was looking on there,
absurd
Florida
amount.
was like 4 million.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. The biggest I saw was Texas, 8.5, which is crazy to me. But
What was that question that you just popped on there? Something
this
about
one?
somewhere they're letting illegals in. Yes, that is true. That has been said, and they said that based on the slow recruiting rates that they've been getting. So you had all those migrants come through, and that was like their path to citizenship if they joined the military.
Right, which is
serve their time in the
basically what
military.
Biker News Canada just said. You know, Steve, the immigrants usually fight for the country they move to, or at least the first generation, to basically get that, right?
Right. See, now my
Yep.
thing is this though. Even if you did that, now let's say that you joined the military simply because you wanted to be a citizen of the United States.
Sure.
But where exactly is your loyalty though? You just doing it
Mhm.
because you just want to be able to stay here.
That's a valid
You
question.
actually don't have no loyalty, quote, to the country, and to the people in the country. You basically doing this because they're gonna do something for you and let you stay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So it's like, where's the
Well, I mean, if
where's
you
the actual
abandon
patriotism at? Where's that? Where's
if you
patriotism?
abandon that country that you came from to come here, it's evident that, you know, hey, you should be representing America at that point, you know?
Okay. Think about it like this. In the past year, you had a 300% markup from Chinese nationals that came from the southern border to the United States.
Yes.
You also had Russians, Iranians, Afghans, and South Africans. Now, let's say, for instance, say you had out of that 300% of Chinese migrants, say you took, let's say 10,000. Let's just say 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And you put them in the military and you tell them, okay, we're going to give you citizenship in the United States as long as you agree to do this term in the military. And they say, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Because they want to stay.
Absolutely.
But a war breaks out. And now China and go against your family. How's that going to work? Will you do it? I mean, seriously, will you do it? Will you want to go there and put boots on the ground and you're going to send these 10,000 Chinese soldiers that's from the U.S.
Sure.
Now you send them over to China and they got to fight their own people. Are they going to do it? Probably not.
Right.
You know, say you took 2,000 Iranians and put them in the military, and then you send them to Israel to fight against Iran. Are they going to do it?
Well, look at what Steve says. What's the alternative? Let them stay here or send our children to die while they live scot-free? You know, and that kind of ties into what Heather is saying. What kind of allegiance would immigrants have for the United States?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying the whole time. There is no patriotism. Actually, tell you the truth, there's no patriotism in schools right now.
Yep.
Why do you think that the recruiting has dropped so much? They were at one point, they was bringing in like 70,000 a year, 70,000 recruits a year.
Now
then they jumped up and they said, well, oh yeah, our recruiting numbers are up now. They're up now. Well, sure they up now because you dropped from 70,000 to 50,000.
Yes. Yeah.
To make it make sense. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like your numbers went up. You brought your numbers down to make it look like, okay, this is what it is. Now you can get, you get massive sign-on bonuses, $25,000 sign-on bonuses, all this different stuff to try to lure these kids into it. Okay, so this gonna pay for your college, this and the third. Which
we're gonna do this and this and this and this for you. Yeah.
Right. That's always happened. Now, but now they're doing more of it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these kids now don't want to go in the military. Why? Because this is something that you don't ever talk about the kids anyway.
Yep.
They don't
As Tebow says, dropped even after a huge sign-up bonus. Yep.
Right.
And it's
They don't do the
crazy.
Pledge of Allegiance no more. They
Nope.
have no patriotism. They have nothing to do. They have no mindset when it comes to being able to protect and defend the United States of America amongst all enemies, both foreign and domestic. They have no idea what that is. That's just words that you heard somebody say, but you have no meaning to it.
Sure.
You know, this is one of the things that I said back a while ago. I used to say when I was on a boneyard, you know what I mean? Like back then, men lived by a code. There was a code that was set up. You know what I mean? You live with honor, loyalty, brotherhood. You know, those words were set for the backbone of this nation.
Yep.
People
And
nowadays use it as a punchline. That has no idea as to what this really means.
You're 100% right. I mean, my OG even tells me, he goes, listen, Mike, you're living by a code, morals and ethics that nobody lives by anymore, you know, and it's really sad. He goes, but you got to protect yourself. Know that you live like that. And, you know, because you're going to get, every time you're going to have your heart broken, essentially, because nobody lives by these codes anymore.
You know, back in my day, back in my teenage years, it was one or two things. It was three things, actually. Either you're going to go to the military, you're going to go to college, or you're going to learn a trade.
You've got these options, right?
Okay. Nowadays, you got most of them trying to figure out whether they want to be a dude or a fucking girl. Quiet as kept. Let's just keep it real.
Yep. You're being right, dude.
You have right now in the Department of Defense right now, you have actual enlisted soldiers right now that's getting sex changes right now in the military.
And they're paying for it. Well, all of us. We're paying for it. Yes.
That's bullshit. Now you talk about going to go fight a war. What are you fighting the war for real?
Right.
This is what we're doing. You know what I mean? You giving out sensitivity cards because if you scream at them too much and they getting their feelings and they put a little sensitivity card out to where you ain't allowed to talk shit to them. Come on, man. Let's put this back where it is. The actual warriors are no longer there. The actual warriors are no longer there.
Facts.
They've done their time and they sitting back, just like me and a bunch of other ones. Sitting back watching, shaking our head like, I'll be damn.
Yep. It's hard because I have to watch my generation do it, you know, and so it's hard because I try to be the good example of my generation of what you should be doing rather than what you should not be doing, right? But it's unfortunate. Yeah, you're right. Accurate.
Yeah, it's scary, but it's also scary because right now you're not just fighting one person. This chess game that we're talking about here, it's not just these two. It's more like Chinese checkers than it is actual chess, because you got the US, you got China, you got Russia,
yep,
Israel,
multiple
Iran,
entities.
You got Taiwan, and everybody got a little something to do with a little bit of everything. And who's the one that's trying to mandate everything, trying to be everywhere? US. And they stretched out. You got them over in Israel. You got them in Taiwan. You got them in Ukraine. You got them stretched out everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Just waiting for something to pop off. You got them stretched out all over the place. Don't nobody else got them stretched out like that.
Right.
But you do, because you have a interest for having all this, because that's kind of been like the U.S. job, is to protect the world. You know, but the thing about that is that all these years that you've been here protecting the world, and now when push comes to shove, a lot of them turning their back. You know, think about it. When they made that deal for the petrodollar, the agreement was that the U.S. was to supply military bases and forces there for the entire time. So that way nobody would come in and try to steal anything from Saudi Arabia, United Emirates, all of them. They kept them all protected. Nobody would mess with you. Now that you turn around and you turn your back on them, like, oh yeah, we ain't gonna do that no more. So what happens if they decide, was like, okay, well, since you ain't gonna do that, guess what? We got to pack up. Everybody leaving here, and whatever happened to you, happened to you. Then what?
Crazy.
And they get overran by, anybody.
Steamrolled, right?
They get ran over by anybody. Then what? So all them billionaires that's sitting over there that have made all this money throughout the past 50 years, that all these families are financially, wealthy
from war,
from this agreement throughout all these years. Well, so what? Okay, so what happens when you be like, okay, well, since you turned your back on me, you know what? Peace out. We out of here. And everybody pack up and leave. Then what?
Damn.
I mean, why should they not? Like, you ain't offering me nothing. You just turned your back on me. So, but if I turn my back on you, see, then it looks like I'm doing you wrong. I'm leading the horse to the slaughter. You know what I mean? I'm doing you wrong by me packing up and leaving you here for whomever that wants to come in and just take over. Iran.
Yep.
Would probably be the first one to come in and take over.
Yep. Facts.
But as long as those bases is there, that's been keeping them at bay. But what happens if I jump up and say, oh, you know what? Peace out. Fend for yourself. What are you going to do then? You know what I mean? And I think that's what's going to have to happen. Because, like I said, you had all these years where the U.S. done went around and they done tried to protect everyone. They sent money everywhere. They sent aid everywhere. Now there has to come a time you be like, you know what? You ain't know what? Guess what? I ain't fucking with none of y'all.
Sure.
I'm pulling back everything. If you ain't supporting what we got going on right here, you on your own. And then see what happened. You can have BRICS all you want. And anything else to go about it, you can have it all you want. But if you think about trying to get anything from over here, you sadly mistaken. That's what's going to have to happen. You can't keep sitting here smiling in somebody's face knowing that they smiling in your face while they looking at you. But then they got deception in their heart when you turn your back. That's what we got here.
Damn. Laid it down thick tonight. Damn, Archbishop.
I mean, truthfully, if we pull our forces out, and I think we're in about 88 different countries right now, we pull our forces out, nothing would stop Russia from taking over Europe. China would take over all of Indonesia. Iran would probably take over part of the Middle East. The people would be back to empire building again.
Right.
I mean, without our forces in place blocking things, there'd be nothing to stop certain countries from doing whatever they want.
Yeah, you have what I got. You got 750 bases in 80 countries.
Wow, that's crazy.
So
it's a lot.
You protecting everybody.
Yep, literally.
In these same countries that you sitting here protecting, and the same ones behind closed doors is trying to work some deals out over here on the back end.
Yep.
And by the time that you realize that this is what they done, it's too late. They've already done it. So I think, when they say charity begins at home, that's exactly what that means. Maybe we need to start backing off on some of this and be like, you know what? Y'all deal with it.
Sure.
Y'all got this all together. Y'all think they're gonna be y'all's friend? They're gonna let y'all do it? Go ahead and see what happens. And when they do, and they come after you, don't call me. So we're gonna see. So we're gonna see what happens. Like I said, this is a chess game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we're gonna see here throughout the weeks. I mean, you already have analysts on here right now that's calling that this should take place in the next 3 months. You have numerous analysts that's been on here talking about this, that this could actually take place within the next 3 months.
So this is get prepared. It's all happening, actively as we speak in front of our eyes.
Right. Now,
crazy.
Like I said, this ain't no situation where we telling you this and and thinking everybody gonna panic and go running and
Sure.
do X, Y, Z.
Sure.
What this is putting it out to you, and then you decide what you're gonna do. Like,
Right.
don't just take my word for it. Don't just take Aaron's word for it or Mike's. Look
Yep.
it up. Look it up for yourself, because the same information that we got is public knowledge. You just gotta look it up. It's right there.
It's a matter of just researching and finding. Yep.
Right. It's right there. You know, they were this stuff is real. I mean, we can keep turning a blind eye to it all you want, but you know, this is real.
Yep.
Stop the cap.
And you're not joking. Yep.
I mean, you're gonna have to start, you know, just like Aaron was talking about these banks. You had over 60 some odd banks that's in trouble right now. So what are you gonna do about your money? You need to start need to start putting your money under gold.
Yep.
Start buying these precious metals and stuff like that, because that's what's gonna
stop spending on Uber Eats.
That's what's gonna keep your money where it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's one that I looked into. What's the name of that company? Lear Capital. You can go through, from what I looked at, you can go through and actually buy, you know, actual gold and silver that you have, that they send it right to you. Or you can take old 401k or IRA or something like that. You can dump it into the same thing. They do numerous different ways to basically put your money under something with some value to it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because the way this is going right now, that paper money ain't gonna be worth a damn here soon if they don't do anything. And this is the reason why they're gonna go fist to cuffs, because you have to protect your boundary. You got to protect your brand. This is the US dollar. This has been in circulation for well over 103 years. And damn it, I'm not gonna just let you just walk in and just say, oh, we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna sit back and just let you do it. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
You may not want war, but you ain't gonna have no choice. It's gonna have to happen.
No matter what. Yep.
Right. It's gonna have to happen. You know what I mean? It's just like when you was a kid and your parents didn't want you to go and fight the bully. You know what I mean? And the bully kept coming and socking you in your face and stealing your lunch money every day. And you had to go off on him, and you had to square up with him. And then after you socked him in the face a couple times, and guess what? He didn't want to fight no more.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that
you know
funny?
I mean? Right. You know, so, and the only way to deal with a bully is to be a bigger bully.
Well, look at what we got. Insane Throttle up in the building. Shout out to you. Shout out to Hollywoods. He's saying war is what elitists want. People are too ignorant to know this government is not Democrats and Republicans. It's an uniparty looking for total control over the people. Big time facts, bro.
Exactly. You know what I mean? How many times have we been saying that they two wings of the same bird?
Yep. And I actually coined that phrase after you guys, you know, from the boneyard, you know, absolutely.
Now, when you sit there and you think, like, they show you bits and pieces on the news where they're in Capitol Hill and they're in session, and they sitting there arguing back and forth with each other, and you think that this is what they're doing. They arguing back and forth during that particular time because this is what they trying to get this particular bill passed or this particular bill passed, and they going back and forth. But once that's over with, they kicking it.
Sure.
They hanging out with each other. They chilling out. You know what I mean? They're no different than me and you. I mean, I was in DC last week.
Yes, you
and
were
hung around with them. You know what I mean?
You were legit with them. I mean, you're sending me pictures of you and Ted Cruz together. You and it's insane the amount of people that you came across there in DC.
Right. You know what I mean? I moved right around with them.
Yep. You were right there.
Talked to them, held conversation in the whole bit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's crazy because what you see on TV and then you talk to them one-on-one, they're nothing like that.
Right.
Nothing like that at all.
It's media portrayment, you know, of people. They portray the certain image of people, and it's very evil.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But you know, like I walked around, I walked all around. I was all over Capitol Hill. I was all over the place.
Yeah, you were.
You know, walking around, meeting people. And what made it so bad, it was like I met this person here, and we sitting there talking, and then you know, somebody come out of nowhere and they just come over and they start talking to the person I'm talking to, and they be like, oh yeah, by the way, this is Sean. John did such and such, he from Florida, and this. Oh yeah, nice to meet you. And then we sitting here talking, and somebody else come over.
Yep, and now you're
then we all
bullshitting with a
talking.
whole
You know
bunch.
what I mean?
Yep.
Right. By the time you turn around, it's 6, 7 people sitting there having a conversation.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now they ain't know me from Adam, other than the fact that I had a shirt on from one of the representatives out of Texas that you know that they gave me, like, okay, move around, as long as you got that shirt on. Everybody,
you good, right?
You good. So as soon as they seen that, like, oh,
taken care of.
Oh, you with AP? Okay, cool. They sitting there holding a conversation, no big deal. You know what I mean? We went to
How did that feel? Did that feel really like that? Must have been really cool.
Yeah, it was.
Hell
it was. And, you know, so we hung out there. They had a briefing that we were able to go in. They had Ben Carson was there, did a little little speech. He gave out his book. I got it sitting in here, his autograph book. And then I was up there with representative out of Texas, August Pfluger.
That's right. Yep.
And he was also playing in the congressional baseball game. You know, they do that every year.
Right. That's a super special ordeal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was able to go and hang out with all of his constituents. You know, we had dinner, went to the game, enjoyed the game. They had this huge party afterwards. You know, man, it was people lined up.
It's like a mega reception.
Yeah, it was like people was lined up going all the way down the street to get into this party.
Right.
But as long as you had this shirt on, you walk right up and they just open the other side of the rope. Like, come on through. You just walk on in. You know what I mean? Like, people thought that you was somebody's shit.
Right.
Like,
you're here for a reason. Right. Absolutely.
Right. And, you know, and so you met a lot of them. You met a lot of them. See, I met the congressman out of Ohio, quite a few of them out of Texas, a couple in Florida. Like I said, me and Ted Cruz had a conversation. There was, during that particular day, there was a lot of different lawmakers. Now I met a bunch more, but to sit here and tell you every single one of them,
endless.
Right? It was crazy because I met so many of them. You know what I mean? And it was just, like I said, just random conversation. You know, and makes you sit back and think, like, okay, like I see you on TV all the time.
Right. I just rubbed elbows with all of you motherfuckers. Yeah.
Right. So, like, I see you on TV all the time, ramping and raving and pointing the finger and hollering and screaming this and the third. And then we sitting here having a regular conversation, like me and you've been friends all the time.
Yep. Like it was no big deal. Like there was no separation of like, hey, I'm in office and you're a citizen. Yeah, for real. Yeah. Got treated like an equal.
Right. Yep. And you know, and the conversation that we was having was like conversation just like this. You know what I mean? So, you know, don't open your mouth and start talking about some that I know something about. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna hit you with them.
And you do not hold back, and that's what makes you you, and that's a very good trait.
Yeah, but it was a good time. I mean, I will say I really enjoyed myself. They all treated me very well.
Dude, you're sending me fucking selfies with these people. I'm like sitting there going like, what is going on with Archbishop? You know, but I'm like, man, that's so cool that you're doing that, man. That's what's up. I'm really proud of you.
Yeah, it was
for sure.
It was really cool. I mean, I'm gonna try to do that again. I got invited to some other stuff that was going on. So I'm gonna stick my neck out and see what happens.
Yep.
You know.
Nope. And that's good. Can take that and run with it. I would.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what better way to talk about something? You can go to the source. You know what I
Right.
mean?
You go straight to it.
Those are the
Hey,
lawmakers.
yeah, yeah. You guys just make it all up. I go have dinner with them. Yeah, let me go figure it out. You know what I mean? Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Well, we've been on here for what, hour 30. So
Yep.
we're gonna cut this out. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and say mine first. I'm gonna let you and Aaron do y'all.
Sure.
First off, I want to tell everybody I appreciate you every week for coming on, supporting, letting people know, tune in, like, follow, share, subscribe. Before you get off for tonight, hit that like button. Because that like button is like gold to us. That's what keeps these videos in the right algorithm to where more people will be able to see it. So
he's right.
So go on there and hit that like button. A lot of the stuff that we've been talking about here lately, you know, it may seem like we're doing the doom and gloom thing, but that's not what we're doing.
Sure.
This is what we're doing is it's an awakening, getting you to pay attention to what's going on in your areas.
Sure.
Look this information up. Look it up for yourselves so that way you know exactly what's going on and move accordingly. You know what I mean? Don't wait until it's too late and then try to do something.
Sure.
What you've been having warnings for the past couple months because we've been dropping one thing after the next, and you
can't say you didn't know.
Two things have been happening. Number one, everything that we've been talking about has, you know, you can draw a line from this point to this point, and also everything that we've talked about within a week to 2 weeks later, you hear it on the news. So we've been way ahead
of the game. Ahead of the game. Yep.
So we've been talking about a lot of this stuff, you know. So, like I said, look at it, look it up, pay attention, do what you need to do for your family, and like I said, tell everyone, go on here, watch these videos, you know, watch them,
share it,
learn something from them, use it. So, other than that, appreciate you once again, and I'll see y'all in 7 days.
Yep. And I can't thank you guys enough from the bottom of my heart. Sincerely, we can't do the show without you guys. Obviously, if you guys weren't here, we couldn't do this. Like Archbishop said, liking the video is the #1 metric of all of YouTube. It's completely free to do so. Please hit that like button. It means the absolute world. Please make sure you also share the video. That is like word of mouth on the street, but you know, on the internet. So it really, you know, when you share it with someone, I promise you they're going to take it more serious than if they just saw a random video on their YouTube feed. Make sure that if you guys would like to support the show, well, first of all, you know, Archbishop, you got to follow him on his Facebook, his Instagram, which is all down there scrolling down below. And also for the Diamond Effect, you can donate over to $Bishop8752 over there to get them some cash apps as well. Make sure you follow my Instagram at BallValveTV. And also, as you guys know, if you guys would like to help out my side, you know, my side's been completely demonetized. And I get it back on July 3rd, which is 2 weeks from today. So if you'd like to help out, we have, you know, and I know not everyone can do it, but if you guys would like to help out, you guys can get a live shout out. We got Cash App, $BallValve, and then we have Venmo at BallValve, and then we got PayPal, BallValveTV@gmail.com. And like I said, man, please make sure you guys like and comment on the video, my man. Appreciate you. And I'm also going to let Aaron with the last few words. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I'm glad to be on the show with you guys. I love trying to help people out. And by us putting out this warning to everyone, we're giving you a chance to get out in front of this. Because a person that's prepared for an event that is coming, not only do they survive the event, but they thrive through that event. My dad always said that a word to the wise is sufficient. And that's what we're trying to give you here. And if you are prepared for a situation and you're living by a model that I try to live by, and that is if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yep.
And I'm going to end there.
Much love and respect to everybody. We will see you guys in 7 days. Much love.
One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free, then let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free, mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads, feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually